Welcome back to today's episode of Under Construction Title with Ian and Ryan.
Right. We are throwing around the idea of the main title being mind hacking and possibly something to follow there, but that's where we're at right now.
I like cultivating consciousness.
Yeah?
I actually really like that because it's alliterative. It makes my brain tingle, and I feel like it's pretty self-descriptive. Mm-hmm. You know, cultivating consciousness, mind hacking for the people. I don't know. I like for the people.
Okay.
Because this is about you, the listener, wherever you may be, in whatever situation you might be in, with however clean or dirty your clothes are. It's for you.
That's true.
And we're just a couple of guys that know some things, but not everything.
Definitely not everything. Definitely not everything.
Well, thank you for being here. Today we are continuing our conversation about not prodigal spark. I said that last time. The fated spark.
Fated spark. That's correct.
The fated spark. So what is the fated spark?
Good question. It has often many things to many people, I believe. According to the framework that we were working in, it's made up of a couple of different components. There's a neurobiology component to it. Mm-hmm. There is an attachment and protection component to it. Mm-hmm. And thirdly, there is a limerence versus love component to this fated spark.
And the spark itself is that feeling you get when you meet a stranger's eyes in public and you feel this little flutter in your heart, and then all of a sudden you are overwhelmed with this emotion that you want to go touch their face.
Or something. And it could be a big flutter, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be the beginning. It's like love.
Yeah.
It could be love.
It could be.
And we're wondering,
certainly love at first sight.
Yeah. And we're wondering, last time we were talking about, is this, like, what is that? You know,
right.
There's schools of thought that say it's purely biological. It's something our body does that make sure that we reproduce. Mm-hmm. You know, there's the deeper conversation of love and what love is and what that means. And we got so far as to wonder, well, I guess not if it's important or not, because it is important because it's so real and powerful over us. But what do we do when we encounter it?
Right. And we did talk a little bit, I think we touched on the idea of rare or not rare, real or not real, things like that.
Yeah.
As well.
It's certainly real.
Right? Oh, yeah.
Because it is very powerful. But if it's rare, that was a big no. The fated spark is not rare because it's super easy to feel, not super easy to maintain.
Correct. Well, I think that the rareness part also could be like, you know, what is it or what does it mean? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, I'm sure all, if not most of us, have had that experience of that spark and it carrying a meaning like, oh my God, here's the one, this is my person, something like that. And then for some of us, the next day that's gone, the next week, the next month, the next year, something, you know, like mm-hmm. it doesn't maintain mm-hmm. its potency. Mm-hmm. And why? Like, why is that? What's that about?
Yeah.
That was part of what we were starting to explore as well.
Because excuse me, there are a couple of paths that end up being traveled when the fated spark comes and then starts to go. And one that can feel like your world is ending because mm-hmm. that feeling of falling in love or falling in infatuation is so extremely intoxicating. And then once it's gone, it's like, oh my goodness, it does feel like the world's ending. So it could be really catastrophic, or it could be, I'm going to call it a really good teacher if we have enough awareness around what's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it could be something that leads to a more sustained
It's possible, for sure. Mm-hmm. I think it all depends on how conscious we are as we approach. Like, are we aware of those three different aspects of the fated spark? Are we mm-hmm. aware of the fact that we're essentially on drugs when that
Love
first
is
starts.
a drug.
You know, the hormonal cocktail that gets delivered into our systems is powerful, and it drives us at levels that we can't even comprehend.
It's cray. It's cray.
Yeah, but then on top of that, there's all of the subconscious components of our attachment systems, our wounding.
Oh yeah, we were talking. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, would you want to?
Well, we were talking about how we in that phase we end up projecting the person we love in our head onto the person we feel those feelings with, because they may or may not embody that, but we then say, oh well, it was the projection part.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Okay.
And then as you were saying that, this thing that came to me was, oh yeah, that's interesting, because there's actually two aspects of projection that happen. Initially, the first aspect is what you were talking about, of that ideal image that we project onto this person that we're experiencing this spark with.
Yeah, the beloved in our mind.
And then what I realized was, oh yeah, and then when the spark fades, we start to project onto that person all of the negative components of our history. So if I had, I'll just use myself an example. Like, I started a relationship with somebody, it's not going well, and then all of a sudden I start seeing this person possessing a lot of the similar traits of my mother, and how painful that is. And then that's all I can see. is what I'm projecting, that those aspects or characteristics onto this person.
Yeah.
And how we do that, again, and it's completely subconscious level.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, for you listening, have you ever fallen in love with who you thought someone could become or thought someone could be, and that kind of makes you overlook who you're actually seeing in front of you? That's a type of projection, because that's projecting your beloved onto the person.
Yeah, or missing the red flags.
Yeah, that's what the faded spark does, is it puts those rose-colored lenses on.
Absolutely. And that's part of that. And it's interesting, like, what is that? Well, that's part of the biological component. That's part of the attachment component, where we are wired so intensely to seek love, and that when there's the possibility of it, we only can see the possibility, and the blinders don't allow us to see the other aspects that are right there and that other people see, that aren't functional or healthy or working or however you want to describe it, and they don't exist.
Yeah, and it's interesting what you said about projecting, like, the negative, like because we often attract partners that embody the behaviors that we were used to growing up. So if those were abusive behaviors and we're used to being talked down to, right, just as a program from childhood, we'll attract a partner that talks down to us because it's familiar. And that could totally be unconscious, right? We don't know. You don't wake up in the morning and go, I want to go find a partner that abuses me.
No. I hope
That's
not.
not a conscious
Anyways, I hope not.
Yeah. But how many times do people get caught in these loops where they're with partner after partner? It's the same story, right? Because you're not learning from it, and you're attracting things that kind of reaffirm your own self-beliefs, right? If you keep attracting, or if you keep accepting abusive partners, what it's saying about you is that you don't believe you're worthy enough to have a loving partner.
Right. Yeah, as you were sharing that, the other thing that popped in my mind, I find funny mostly about myself, but I think it's true for a lot of people, is in that faded spark, there may be a characteristic of somebody that I find really attractive. And then as the spark fades, because it was purely just a spark and there was nothing that was going to be enduring, that same thing that was attractive becomes really unattractive.
Oh, gosh. Relationships are a thing.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Very complex. So complex.
But, so getting back to kind of the more objective kind of framework around what we're trying to talk about in this episode. So to kind of finish what where we just went, yes, it's complicated, and the relationships are complicated, but that's why it's really important to foster self-awareness in order to foster healthy relationships. And we feel this fated spark. It's a lot of biology. It's very real, but it's not. I don't think it's inherently good or bad. It can.
See, that's actually a good thing. I love that. Like, I wish we had. I'll just speak for. I wish I had the capacity to not identify it as good or bad, but just as a fact. Like, this is who I am as a human being, and this is what happens. Yeah. And not make a good or bad out of it, or initially it being a good and then it turning into a bad. That right. I think in itself could be like quite an advancement. Right. Or, again, to like limit suffering. Yeah. That the good and bad polarity just already is a setup.
Well, it's powerful, right? Yeah. It's powerful. Whatever it is, it's powerful. I think what comes from it can be something that we identify with, whether that's good or bad, meaning something that brings us joy or something that brings us a lot of suffering. And whether that's suffering from another person caused to us or suffering that we cultivate within ourselves, right, from it. So it can lead to a lot. But I'm kind of the camp that it's very much a biological thing. I've personally kind of accepted it as that. I personally love that feeling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's enlivening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am intimidated by it because I know how destructive it can be if people don't have the wherewithal to navigate when it leaves, or if it abruptly gets shut off. Like if someone breaks up with you, or you break up with somebody,
or how to move towards like any sense of longevity, meaning couple months, couple years, lifetime, whatever, like how to move towards that in a healthy, intentional way. Yeah. Any more so than how to manage it not holding together or ending. Yeah. I think both are equally important.
So, first actionable step of episode 11, maybe.
Maybe. Oh, maybe 11 or maybe first actionable step.
No, I think it was maybe episode 11. I think it's episode 11. It's definitely the first actionable step is if you are in a position where you felt this spark and you were overwhelmed with the desire to be with somebody, and now all of a sudden it's faltering and you're starting to question it, ask your I was going to say the first actionable step is asking yourself, how aware are you willing to be about the fact, or what am I trying to say? How aware are you around it? Are you totally wrapped up in it? Do you think, because I think a common feeling that's associated with the spark is, oh, this is my soulmate. I'm supposed to be with this person for the rest of my life. Like, and if it goes south, then I did something horribly wrong.
Well, yeah, we get into labeling. So there's something wrong with me, not good enough.
Yeah.
We start to experience things like abandonment or isolation.
Yep. Or you go overboard and you're like trying to control them, so that you like keep that.
Yeah, try to have control over it, so you make it stay what you want it to be.
Yeah, that's not good either.
No, that's not likely going to last long.
So, yeah, that first step is asking yourself, am I willing to accept the possibility or the probability that this is a phase and part of the human experience and not something that's life or death?
Yeah, I think a possibility there is to can we, or can you, the listener, step prospectively back and become more of an observer of the experience instead of participating in the experience, so that you can then possibly have more capacity to like evaluate rationally instead of from the biological driven or neurological driven or emotionally driven components of our human makeup.
And you can navigate with those through those pathways too. I would say it's a little more difficult to navigate emotionally.
Oh my God, yeah.
If you're identified with your emotions, right? But to just what came up for me is if you go the full logic path and ignore your emotions, then you're missing out on part of the puzzle too.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not suggesting an all or nothing. I
wasn't saying that's what you're saying. I was just saying that's what came up. Because it's
I get it.
I don't want people to think that, we hear the word rational, and I feel like that can be a little bit divisive because it's like, oh, you're being rational or not. But like between emotion and logic, it's such a fluid.
Well, it's how do we, because I think naturally there's people who lean in one direction or the other, and that it's not natural for a majority of human beings to be in the middle.
Yeah, or be observant of all of it at once instead of identifying with one or the other.
Right, exactly. And that typically, I'll just throw this in, that way of being typically comes from how we learn to survive in early life. Yeah. And so we default into, we naturally default into a survival pattern when we experience the threat of loss. And so if that spark is fading and the biochemical part is fading and the attachment part is fading and the intensity part of the connection, of the limerence is fading, now all of a sudden there's loss. And then how do we...
Grief,
that grief is happens as a result of the actual loss, but before the grief, there's the fear that this loss either is about to happen or is happening or has happened. Yeah. And so we just naturally default into these patterns of how we've learned to survive at a very rudimentary level. Yeah. And that's the reason why I was suggesting that the capacity to shift your perspective is, can we at the very least, at the minimalistic ability, be able to say, oh, look, that's my pattern. Or something that simple like that. Oh, look, I'm anxious or I'm angry or I'm fearful. Oh, and now I'm in a survival pattern. Even if we can't go beyond that, that's a great start of separation and perspective.
Totally.
But if we can cultivate that, then there's another step of stepping out into perspective of broader vision and awareness and practicing that so that we actually have that ability to become more and more and more of an observer.
And that's not easy.
No.
It's easy to say, but being able to get to the point where you can observe your own patterns and take responsibility in some way.
Taking responsibility is actually another big step. That can be really, really, really hard.
That's like, it's pretty brutal when you take up the mantle of responsibility.
To me, that's kind of like black belt level of consciousness. No, because that's actually where in my judgment anyways, like we as men and women and human beings in a relationship, we actually can minimize the amount of trauma.
Oh, definitely.
When we are able to take full responsibility for ourselves and only for ourselves and not anything beyond that. A lot of people struggle or make sense of like taking responsibility as, oh, it's all my fault. And then that's not a healthy position to trying to be responsible either.
That's a scary place to be. And
I know it.
I do too. Yeah. I feel like one of my programs, I'd always default to thinking that everything that happens is because I did or didn't do something right.
Yeah, and I think that's a very easy place to find ourselves in when it has to do with romantic, intimate relationships. Totally. Because I think I learned this from some Tantra teaching, but I don't remember. But basically that any intimacy of any kind, if romantic, sexual, will always, always, always take us to our core wounding, the deepest of our core wounding. And so if that's true, then that means it's also always going to unconsciously take us to our deepest core survival patterns. And it's being able to start to like tease all of that apart slowly enough to recognize like, oh yeah, there's that part of me.
Totally.
And look at what it's doing. That's what it's doing.
Yeah. I was going to say that if we start to feel the spark fade, thinking about self-awareness and responsibility, I think that's a really important juncture in the faded spark timeline to pay attention to.
Yeah, it is. But I think preceding that, because that's a huge leap, I think, to go from, oh, this is not what I want it to be. Oh, I'm going to be responsible.
No, I'm not jumping straight to responsibility.
Okay.
I'm trying to talk about what we can do to foster awareness around if we're responsible or not. And this is getting back to the navigating the spark fading. What I was going to say is, if you feel like it highlights a lot of where everything you were just talking about comes up. When it starts to feel shaky and all your programming starts to rear its head, am I doing something wrong? Am I, what's going on? It's important to ask yourself, we talked about it briefly last time. Really important check-in questions are when you are feeling that faded spark and it might start to fade, check in with your energy levels in the relationship. When you interact with the person, do you end up feeling excited or anxious and depleted after talking to them? Or do you feel nourished and safe after talking to them? And specifically, it was after when you share truth.
Yeah.
That's a really important indicator of where it's going to go. And that's an important part to pay attention to, because that's when your programming is going to come out. If you feel like you do everything wrong, then you are most likely a people pleaser, and you're going to try and ignore all their red flags in order to appease them, in order to hold on to the faded spark. Or you're going to try to domineer it and control it in order to maintain it. And that's what came up for me when thinking about how to potentially start taking responsibility. Like gaining awareness is a critical step that not everyone will achieve in their lifetime.
No, that's wicked hard when all of our trauma, PTSD responses are online, trying to keep us safe.
It's not impossible, though.
No, I said almost.
Right. But I don't want people to feel doom and gloom about
I see.
it. Right?
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's
what
good.
we're here for. We're here to try to unpack all this stuff.
It's like kind of walking a razor's edge in the beginning, because it's easy to fall off.
Totally.
It's so easy to fall off that edge, because we're getting pulled in so many directions by aspects of ourselves that we don't even fully understand or recognize are actually in play.
Right.
So that's why when I said like almost impossible, is because the line that it takes to walk that is so fine initially. To be able to override, survival mechanisms, trauma responses, fear, anything that we perceive as potential source of pain, we figure out our brain, we consciously, unconsciously, we figure out just about any possible way to make sure that doesn't happen.
Sure.
And that's the part that is so hard to become conscious of. But when we start to become conscious of that, it actually then opens up a lot of possibility.
Totally.
And it's just the simplest thing of being able to name it. You don't have to do anything with it.
Almost impossible thing.
Right. Is to just be like, oh, look, there's this young part of me that's telling me to run away. So I don't know. I'm trying to find an oversimplified awareness.
Well, and I'll challenge the word override, and I want to replace it with accept. Because life isn't about changing everything that we are. I think it's more about accepting everything that we are, so that if we want to grow from it, we can. We're not going to be able to change if we won't accept what we are and where we've been. We're going to continue to repeat the same patterns in a different way, all while thinking that we're doing things differently when we're not. So it's okay if any of these things are coming up. But I think it is really important to simply start by asking yourself, what's coming up for me right now? Mm-hmm. And does it feel good in my gut or not?
Right.
And why am I acting this way? Who am I trying to please? Am I looking out for myself? Am I going against what makes me feel rooted in order to please this person to hold on to the spark? What's going on right now? That's where you start. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's almost impossible, but it's not totally impossible.
No. And you know what I should have said? That I will rephrase this. It feels almost impossible.
Totally.
I think that's a truer statement.
Well, because
it certainly is what my personal experience is. Like when I find myself up against something really difficult or uncomfortable, it's like, oh my God, it feels like that. I can't do that. And it always feels like that until I start to do it.
Well, and it can get really tricky with past trauma and past pain, because when we carry those around with us, it gives us a way to orient to the world and against the world, and it gives us a sense of identity. And it can be really scary to accept those things in order to move on from them, because then you feel like you're losing yourself.
Well, it could feel like that, yeah. And it's because we are potentially getting disconnected with what's familiar.
What's familiar.
Yeah.
The scary thing is that identifying with pain and trauma also gives us a sense of righteousness, because we say, well,
it could.
We can say, well, because I experienced this, then I deserve to have
or
this wall up.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I get to numb, or I get to be angry.
Yeah. So I liked what circling back to your talk about acceptance, because I don't think most of us have a choice if we have trauma, whether or not it's part of our experience. I think it is. I think
totally.
What it comes
whether
down
we're
to
aware
is
of it or not.
Whether we're aware of it or not, and then if we are aware of it, how do we choose to be in relationship with it? Mm-hmm. And how do we choose to allow it to be the director of how we are, or a part of something that's more in the background? Not because I'm trying to get rid of it, but just because it has less hold over me.
Right. Do we want our trauma to run us, or do we want to run our life whilst acknowledging and accepting our trauma?
Ideally, yeah. And so the first step in all of that, I think probably could likely be circling back, like I said, this component of acceptance is like, oh yeah, there I'm doing that again. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Look at that. That's familiar. And not making it good or bad.
Right.
But accepting that it's present. It's part of the experience. It's part of me or you, and then seeing through acceptance, seeing what might be possible in terms of how we relate to that piece.
Then you have a choice.
Yeah.
You can say, what do I want to do now?
Yeah.
So if we can achieve this simple to talk about yet seemingly impossible task of gaining self-awareness around how we show up when things don't go the way we want them to, we could potentially then begin to grow and cultivate a healthy, long-lasting relationship, sustaining the faded spark.
It increases the possibility for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Now, the thing about that is you being able to do it is not enough.
Right.
The other person has to be able to do it too.
For it to truly last. Yeah, I would have to say you're right there.
That's a mountain.
And then the other piece, there's another component to that is you have to be able to do it. They have to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. And then the two of you have to be able to do it with each other.
Yep.
So just because the two people may have the ability to do it individually doesn't necessarily mean in that relationship they could do it together.
Yep.
So that's why I think a lot of people feel like maybe it's a lot rarer that the true love and the long-lasting, long-duration type of loving relationship is a lot rarer because of what it does require for a healthy, functional, loving relationship to thrive.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's a misconception to think that because two people have been together for so long, say they're like that couple that's been together for 50 years, that they somehow figured out how to make it rosy and strawberries and cream for 50 years straight.
Not likely.
Nope.
Not likely.
No, in 50 years, you are going to experience every single emotion that you can imagine and that you can't imagine. The best word I ever heard used to describe a marriage of 60-something years was bewildering.
Bewildering. I can certainly feel that as an appropriate description.
But it is a beautiful thing, because if you can gain awareness around what's going on, understand that the spark is a phase, and you and your partner are capable of growing individually and together, you can get to a phase where you can care for that spark. It's not always going to be that overwhelming as it was in the beginning, but you can care for it so that it's always there, kind of like a star in your night sky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you both have it.
Yeah, I mean, and then to define that even further, I'm like, what is it that allows that to have longevity, that spark, to go from just a spark into something greater? And the some of the things are things that are the uncommon things that make this spark last.
We have to believe in something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah, but it starts more simply. I mean, first of all, there has to just simply be the right chemistry between the two people. There needs to be compatibility, and the capacity all at once to remain engaged. And it's having all of those things exist at the same time. So we could have, and I'm sure that's an oversimplification. I think there's probably many more pieces to that puzzle.
Sure.
But to be able to really like get a sense of what is the recipe that allows for a spark to go beyond, or to be the kindling to the fire instead of it just going out, are things of that nature.
My mom always liked to say, she told me once that a relationship based on desire is not set up to last.
Yeah.
It'll usually fail.
Right.
But a relationship based on purpose will have what it takes to go on. And that always was kind of the thing in the back of my mind that I started looking for, actually right before I found the healthiest relationship of my life with the woman who I'm now engaged to. It was like I had to, and I know I said it earlier, but I had to start thinking about more than myself, which isn't fun.
No. It's called maturity, I think, actually. Congratulations. You have matured.
I wish I could grow up more facial hair.
Oh, well.
I still have boyish features.
That isn't really the definition of maturity, just so you know.
All right. Well, thanks. I feel better.
So, were there any other tools you wanted to bring in here?
Well,
did you have anything else in your list?
I had actionable steps for what to do if you're experiencing a broken heart, because you were totally wrapped up in the faded spark and then it ended, or you found out they're not who you thought they were and you just feel crushed and you got no juice left in the tanks and you just are no longer happy. And I mean, some people go to really dark places after breakups, even to the point where they'll end their own life. Absolutely. Totally. Yeah. That's unfortunately not uncommon. That's how strong that feeling is. But, I'm happy to share those. I feel like I guess it could be helpful. Are you experiencing a breakup right now? Would you like to hear some actionable steps for what to do? Well, just so happens, Ryan has a couple of those. Let's just go over a couple, because this is something that happens in most people's lifetimes, sometimes several times. Many times. Yeah. And this is kind of the rough side of the faded spark, and what happens if you are not aware of your patterns, are not aware of the situation, and you were just totally wrapped up in it, which is totally okay. It happens. It's a powerful thing. But one of the first steps is let the grief happen.
Yeah.
Don't fight it. It hurts. To lose that feeling of the faded spark is like having a knife plunged into your chest and then pulled out of your chest, and then you're like kicked in the face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It can be devastating.
So cry if you need to, journal what hurts, talk to someone you trust. Trying to be fine too fast usually stretches out the pain. I'm going to throw in here too, be super careful about trying to fill that void with another person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Take care of your body so your emotions have a foundation to recover. When you're heartbroken, basic things feel pointless, but they matter more than ever. Eat enough, good food, and regularly. Get outside at least once a day. Sleep as consistently as you can.
Yep.
And move your body. Even if it's slow walking, it counts. Your physiology carries a huge part of emotional healing. It's not all just in your head. It's not all just in your body. It's in both, and you need to take care of both. Rebuild your sense of self. Relationships intertwine your identity with someone else's. After it ends, you're relearning you. Try activities you enjoyed before them. Things you always wanted to try but never did. Small creative acts, drawing, music, writing, cooking, dancing, whatever.
Movement,
Joy. Yeah, movement, anything that you can think of. Joy often starts as a spark, not a fire.
Isn't that interesting? Another spark.
Quite on topic. Here's just a couple more. I really like these. Another one is reconnect with people who make you feel seen. That could even be an animal.
Mm-hmm.
Being around people who care about you creates emotional safety. Make one plan a week with a friend. Spend time with people you can be honest with. And let others help you, even in small ways. Isolation makes heartbreak heavier.
Yeah, I think I want to speak to that a little bit about this idea of community.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for men, a lot of times there's this belief like, oh, I'm going to just figure this out on my own.
Yep.
I'm gonna bury this somewhere, or I'm just gonna carry this burden with me, but it's only me. Like nobody knows about it. I don't talk about it. I don't seek help around it. I'm like on my own, and that's super devastating.
Totally.
For men in particular. But I think having community for both men and women in particular, when things are hard and painful, like this kind of a loss, allows us to move through, process, experience, and shift in ways that can't happen by ourselves.
Yeah.
It's just, we're social animals. And even if, we're the most introverted, we still need connection.
Totally.
And we still need community, and that's where safety actually exists.
Yep.
And that's what needs to be sought out, in particular when we're going through a period like we're talking about here, this kind of a loss.
Totally.
And I want to just speak to the men in particular. Like, I've heard many, many men try to say that they're just going to figure it out, or they're going to do it on their own. And I promise you, even if you do work it out, it's going to be long and painful, and it's unnecessary. There are so many available possibilities for how to change isolation, eliminate isolation, or minimize isolation in community with other men, groups focused on specific things. I'm sure if you go to Meetup, you could find a Meetup on breakups.
Totally. You're not alone. We're not alone.
Yeah, and don't force yourself to be alone. That is just not healthy.
Totally.
That's what I want to say.
Totally. The last one I was going to share that I think it's important in life, and it's especially important after heartbreak, is reflect on it, but don't ruminate. Ruminating is
easy to say, hard to do.
Totally. Ruminating is when you replay past experiences trying to figure out how you could have done something better. That will make you sick. It's important to reflect, but don't ruminate. Ask yourself, what did I learn about myself from this experience? What do I want or not want next time? And am I willing to do something differently?
Yep.
And what made me feel alive in that relationship? But avoid looping on what if or self-blame. They don't lead anywhere helpful. And going back to that part about what made me alive in that relationship, what came up for me is oftentimes it's important to remember that point about we can fall in love with the idea of something. So sometimes you fall in love with how someone makes you feel and not that person.
Yep.
That's kind of another tricky one, right?
Definitely.
Relationship needs to make you feel seen, feel heard, and feel loved for who you are. If it doesn't do that, ask yourself what the you're doing and why.
Right. Which isn't always easy to do.
Simple to say, almost impossible to do.
Yep.
But not totally impossible.
But this is actually where not doing that alone makes it a lot easier. Like having others to reflect to you about what they're seeing or what they heard you say, or is that really what you mean? Challenging, questioning, supporting. It that inquiry is so much more accessible when done with support from others and not on your own. I don't recommend trying to do it on your own. It's not for most of us. I'm sure there are some people out there that are capable, but for the majority of us, it's not going to lead us to good outcomes.
No, try to talk to somebody. And we can't see our own blind spots. You might have what you think is an absolute idea of what happened and how you behaved, but that could be completely different than how other people perceived it. So,
Definitely.
How are you being super hard on yourself? Like, check into that. I feel like this would be a good segue into the next portion of the Fated Spark topic about, is it worth it at all?
Why do we do this?
Yeah.
Why do we even do this? Especially why do we do this when survival isn't the core driver anymore?
Yeah, we're no longer running from tigers. Usually.
Right.
Not typically. We're no longer, we can make it through the winter, most like we do the summer. We're not facing our ancient forms of
survival.
We're
survival, shelter, food.
Yep.
I mean, interestingly, it's can be broken down into kind of two different categories of the why. One being at a very rudimentary level, it's evolutionary. There's this residue of what is genetically allowed us to stay in existence on the planet for as long as we have in this form, in human being.
That gives me goosebumps. That made me feel like love is what allows us to survive because it's worth fighting for or surviving for.
Yeah, but evolution doesn't operate on love. That's like a mental construct where evolution is more the core, like procreation. Like we have to procreate to be able to maintain an existence on this planet. And that was, for a majority of human existence, that's been a truth, driven by our need for evolving and maintaining our constant evolution so that we can maintain the species. The truth, and therefore, at an evolutionary level, we are built for pair bonding, because without pair bonding, there's no procreation. So evolutionarily, genetically, there's this driver in us that says you have to find a mate. But that's about it now. It's not like you have to find a mate, because if you don't, the human species will die will die out. It's just this. It's like an evolutionary echo that drives us.
So you're saying in modern times where we still have the biological reaction in order to get us to mate, but it's not.
Well, it's evolution. It's not biological. That's a good question. I don't know what it is.
We need some scientists.
Yeah, I mean, the term is evolutionary here because of, but maybe it's biological or genetic. Maybe not biological, but genetic.
I'm just going back to saying that, like, saying that the fated spark is a biological function that ensures our evolutionary survival.
You're right, and then at that biological component, the truth is, like, oxytocin and attachment, it didn't vanish because grocery stores became into existence.
Right.
But there have been shifts in purpose, like from survival and reproduction to self-actualization and meaning. It's raised the bar for why we continue to pursue relationship and connection. And it raised it from just can we cope to can we grow, create, and become even more fully ourselves together in partnership.
Yeah. Which is something beyond an evolutionary necessity.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
cool.
And then there's a sociological component of it, which is basically it's a practical necessity. Relationships drift towards an expressive aspect of ourselves, either our values, our purposes, our identities, and it's rather than a utilitarian function. So it's this self-expression or fully being ourselves is a driver of something for us to want to do and be.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this like more centralized now than ever is this, like we talked about just a second ago about the self-actualization stuff. It's like, how do we become our fullest selves? And
there's a lot to this topic.
yeah.
Well, because what came up for me is now that it's not necessary for evolutionary survival, that's what I think makes it so profound to have a sustained spark that turns into a really long partnership.
Oh, that's interesting. I just realized hearing you say that. So the spark actually is evolutionary because very early on, there needed to be something that attracted mates together.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you were saying the same thing.
That's why I was saying the spark was a biological function that ensured our evolutionary survival.
Okay. Somehow I didn't hear it that way, but I got the meaning.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now we're beyond needing to survive through the winter, which is, I think, made it more complicated.
Or have children to make sure that there's more of us on the planet that we keep going.
And it's interesting because we're in survival mode in completely different ways now.
All the time.
It's almost like we're surviving through a constant winter now instead of once a year. Because the winter is now in the form of bills and politics, society, and stress.
Yeah.
Right. So how do we keep that? And we're talking about how to keep love alive.
Right. And we're not even talking about yet, anyways, all those external stressors that can be on a relationship.
Well, to go back to the question is, why bother? Why should we try?
Well,
beyond the evolutionary drive.
I think for some people that may be still all that it is for them. I don't know.
Sure.
But I think the suggestion here is that there can be more, and that there's this possibility of in relationship and partnership that there's aspects of ourselves that arise, develop, reveal that could never be experienced individually.
Otherwise,
yeah.
My mind just came up with this analogy. I thought about the sky. Could you imagine? Just take a minute. Could you imagine if the sky always looked the same? if it never changed colors, if you didn't see the stars at night, like here it is. Sometimes the sky is scary. Sometimes it brings storms, right? Sometimes those storms create a lot of destruction, right? But the sky also brings things that bring life, that bring beauty, that bring rejuvenation, right? Now, if you could imagine a sky that never changed, would life be as special or as impactful? That's the way I look at, I'm thinking that caring about love, caring about loving yourself, caring about, and when I say care, I mean paying attention to, trying to learn from, right? Enjoying, but also understanding enough to let go. And, we don't covet the sky when it's sunny. Well, sure we do.
Yeah, we do.
We covet the sky when it's sunny, but we don't sit there and, well, no, we curse the sky when it's raining too. I know this analogy will work. I just think that life wouldn't be the same if the sky never changed.
Yeah, I'm wondering if what you're saying is like in relationship with someone else, it provides us like this constant challenge that wouldn't be there if we were just on our own, and it wouldn't allow us to strive, to expand, to grow, to heal, to express all these things that would maybe not ever happen for us.
Yeah. And if we can survive the storm, if we can hold on and work at it, right, and keep ourselves together through the storm, oftentimes that's when the sky and the land is most beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting hearing that and thinking like, oh, then that creates like a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, and maybe like a nice rainstorm where everything's green. I'm not talking like a tornado comes down and trashes everything. That's horrifying. But if you can make it through that, then and see the rebuilding, that's the same as relationship.
Totally. Yeah,
and
no,
just
I
like
see
you
that.
said, a sense of accomplishment. That's why I get goosebumps when I see those old couples talking at like people's weddings where they're like, we've been together for 50 years. We've been together for 60 years. I've always felt something deep inside me that went, whoa,
how'd you do that?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Like I always felt like,
how did you do that?
I'd love to be able to be that person saying that.
Yeah.
Because you got to earn that.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to earn that.
Yeah, that takes work. Right. Even if it's not a perfect relationship, maybe more so if it's not an ideal relationship. And how many people truly have ideal relationships?
Right. That's a myth. Relationships are the sky. Everything, the sunny, stormy, windy, crazy, all of it. Right. But it's our ability to learn. You can navigate storms just the same way you harness sun. Right. Like it's up to you. It's up to us to learn and grow and adapt in order to survive, right?
No, that's not totally true because we're likely gonna survive anyway.
Survive in
thrive?
Thriving, joyful, non-destructive way.
Yeah, that's
Thank
different.
you. That's a good clarification because yes, you can survive in a really
our human
negative way too.
Human machine is very good at surviving. Probably too good at surviving, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, you're right. I meant in a nourishing, joyful way.
Yeah.
In a healing way.
Yeah.
That takes strength.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, that's about time.
Yeah.
Can we share what we're grateful for?
Yeah. You ready or?
I am so ready.
Okay. Let's go. Let's have you lead.
Oh, you meant that way.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so ready to have you go first.
Oh.
I'm really grateful for this conversation because there were several moments where I got goosebumps thinking about just my own journey through experiencing, these emotions in life and feeling grateful for, because there were definitely times in life when I wanted to give up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And for whatever reason, I didn't, not completely. And I feel like it's paid off. And now I feel rich in relationship. I get to go home and be accepted. I get to come talk to you and have conversations that nourish my mind and stimulate my heart. And I didn't always have that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful that there was something in me, maybe a little voice, maybe it was an angel that said, don't give up. Just don't give up.
Nice.
You know, it's not, you don't have to know how you're going to get through it. You just need to know you're not going to give up.
Yep. Got it. Cool. Thank you. For me, I'm most grateful for the hardships. I've had a lot of them. And there's been very extended periods of time where it's felt like it's never going to be anything different than that.
Ooh,
And that I am able to have this conversation with you today from a very like neutral place, as opposed to a very like triggered place of like the spark and the relationship and what it's led me to and the pain it's caused me and catastrophizing everything and being negative about all of it. And that it's interesting, like this idea of growth and development that is part of what relationship offers us is like, oh yeah, I'm getting that. I'm not in a relationship, but it's provided me a lot of the hardship from it. The learning has provided me a lot of opportunity for growth and development and healing. And wondering like, where am I going to be in another, I don't know, year or whatever, noticing just like how I've evolved as a man, how I've evolved as a father, you know, from places where I thought I was nothing, and I had nothing. So I'm grateful for being able to sit here at the end of this conversation and look back at my own life and be like, yeah, this is hard shit. And I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's really hard. And I'm doing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that gave me goosebumps.
Cool.
You are.
Yeah, I am.
Well,
Super cool.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're not completely done with this topic.
No, we have more.
Yeah. The next one, I'm going to give a preview because I think it's super cool. It's looking through what's called the 4-lens synthesis of the body, heart, mind, and soul, and how those work together in deep romantic love.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm excited to explore that next.
I look forward to that.
Yep.
Next
Hope you'll join
time
us.
on Cultivating Under Construction TBD Consciousness with Ian and Ryan.
All right. Until next time.